From Lagos, Nigeria, this is News Central. I'm Felicity Ezewike. The top stories tonight. Professor Joash Amupitan nominated as new chairman of Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Elder statesman and former Nigerian High Commissioner to the UK, Christopher Kolade, is dead. Israel and Hamas agreed to first phase of ceasefire plan, which looks to cement release of all hostages and withdrawal of troops from Gaza.
In business, House of Representatives moves to investigate funds on rehabilitation of refineries.
In sports, Super Eagles coach urges players to stay focused ahead of their FIFA World Cup qualifier against Lesotho amid speculations over his future.
Welcome. Tonight begins now. We begin tonight from the presidency, where the National Council of State has on Thursday confirmed the appointment of Professor Joash Amupitan as the substantive chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. His appointment followed the tenure expiration of Professor Maduagwu and his nomination by President Bola Tinubu. Now, according to a statement issued by presidential aide Bayo Onunuga, Amupitan's nomination marks the first time a native of Kogi State will head Nigeria's electoral management agency. News Central's State House correspondent Bettina Uweli reports.
The Council of State meeting has ratified key national appointments. Dr. Aminu Yusuf from Niger State was confirmed as chairman of the National Population Commission, while Alhaji Tonge Bularafa will serve as federal commissioner representing Yobe State. In addition, Professor has ratified key national appointments. Dr. Aminu Yusuf from Niger State was confirmed as chairman of the National Population Commission, while Alhaji Tonge Bularafa will serve as federal commissioner representing Yobe State. In addition, Professor Joash Amupitan, a legal scholar and expert in the law of evidence, was endorsed as the new chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission.
Mr. President today recommended to Council of State Professor Joash Amupitan. Joash is a professor of law, as a matter of fact, also a professor of evidence.
Governor Ubasani of Kaduna State also confirmed the Council's approval of the presidential clemency list.
Email recommended for presidential clemency about 82. Those recommended for reduced sentence for their terms of imprisonment are 65. And those recommended for reduced sentences from death to life imprisonment are about 7 in number. So the total number is 175 unanimously approved.
According to the Permanent Secretary, Cabinet Affairs Office, Dr. Emanso Umobong, the Council further approved the 2024 and 2025 National Honors Award list. While in a separate session, the Police Council endorsed 1% of the Federation account as statutory allocation to the Nigeria Police Trust Fund, up from the previous 0.5%.
After diligent screening and selection process by the committee, a total of 824 successful applicants were recommended for the 2024-2025 National Honors, and 135 special awards by the President, bringing it to a total of 959 awardees. In the spirit of inclusive national recognition, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had conferred national honors on several deserving Nigerians and friends of Nigeria this year, including Bill Gates for his contributions to public health and humanitarian support in Nigeria.
The Council to approve 22% deduction from the Federation account. And the last one, direct the Honorable Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice to input all the approvals of the council in the proposed executive bill. All these prayers have been approved.
From prison reform and national honors to strengthen security institutions, today's Council of State meeting marks another milestone in the government's ongoing reforms agenda. In Abuja, for News Central, Bettina Nwili.
Thank you, Bettina. The new INEC Chairman is Joash Amupitan, a law professor who hails from Ayetoro Gbede in Ijumu local government area of Kogi State. Amupitan, who currently serves as the Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration at the University of Jos, has spent more than 3 decades in the academia and legal practice. He joined the institution in 1989 as an assistant lecturer and rose through the ranks to become a reader in 2003 and a professor of law in 2008. Details from the University of Jos website shows that the new INEC boss obtained all his degrees, including bachelor's, master's, and doctorate in law from the same university. He was called to the Nigerian bar in 1988 after completing his program at the Nigeria Law School, Lagos. Amupitan was, until his nomination, the pro-chancellor and chairman of council of Joseph Ayo Babalola University, Osun State. Policy analyst Jacob Pele makes a return on the news tonight. And of course, we have Director of Programs at Yaga Africa, Cynthia Mbamalu, joining in to expand the conversation about the appointment of the new INEC Chairman. Thank you very much to both of you for being here. I'll start with you, Cynthia. We now have a new name, a professor who has been in the academia and seemed to have a stellar reputation. Talk to us about your thoughts on this nomination.
Well, thank you and good evening. I think what is important at this point is the need for us as Nigerians to focus and follow this process of appointment. The nomination has been made and the name will be forwarded to the Senate for screening. So it's beyond just the profile of the nominee. It's also about the requirement of that office. That's the office of the INEC chair. And that requires things as simple as, one, understanding and expertise when it comes to elections. And that is because the new chair, whomever occupies that particular seat, would have barely 3 months to settle in before the notice of elections for the next general election to be released and will be published by February next year. And so things as simple as expertise when it comes to elections is critical. Also, the non-partisanship and unquestionable integrity are important criteria in the Constitution that we also need to assess. I do believe that, and this is one step, but there's an important need for the screening process to include a multi-stakeholder participation so that citizens can also forward their feedback or comments or objections on the nominee. I do believe that an inclusive process would inspire better confidence in whomever emerges as the final chair of the commission. But like I said, this is a first step. As civil society, as citizens, we all need to keep our eyes on that process and follow through the conversation so that the screening process is actually thorough, in-depth, and done in such a way that we will be having an INEC chair that is ready for the work and that has the requisite capacities and competencies to get the work done.
Cynthia, hopefully we wouldn't see take a bow and go. Your credential speaks for you. Hopefully we won't see that. Okay, Jane, let's come to you and take your thoughts. Prior to this announcement, names were thrown around. We had names, I wouldn't mention them now, but you know what I'm talking about. Is this the best possible choice? Does his pedigree encourage optimism that perhaps 2027 will be different?
Well, going by what we know today and the kind of profile that this nominee have showcased, there's hope, and hopefully he will do the needful. I wanted to say Cynthia had done a good job in talking about the profile of the nominee and what is expected from the National Assembly. But I would zero in on the citizens' expectation of this gentleman, knowing fully well that he's coming to inherit an organization that have a battered image and deficit trust. He is going to have do a lot of work to get back the confidence of Nigerians on the electoral management body. It's going to be a tough work for him, and the only way he can get it done is to show himself independent from day one. If he wants to play politics of being 1 foot in Aso Rock and 1 foot in INEC, then he would start immediately losing the confidence of the citizens. And so he needs to do a lot of work to rebuild the trust, and it starts with even INEC staff. I was privileged to meet with the acting chairman. And of course, I said on your channel that she would never be INEC chairman.
Yes, you did.
Because I know May was not interested. He wants to get the job done and all that. But this gentleman will have to do a lot to reinstill confidence in first INEC staff, secondly Nigerians, and if he wants to play to the gallery, he would start losing anything and everything that he should have from day one. Hopefully, if it comes before the Anambra election, that will be a litmus test for him. If he plays the role of electoral umpire and not play the role of either APC or PDP candidate or Abga candidate, then the confidence scale will start swinging to his own favor. So we need a true Democrat. We need someone who will not be political. We need someone who truly have the leadership skills to deliver the competencies to run such an important institution. He needs to be a transparent leader. He needs to be a person of integrity. He needs to be accountable if he must get the trust of Nigerians.
Cynthia, you said he has a very short time, and I'm curious as to what Yaga knows about this man beyond his academic qualifications in terms of his relation with the electoral process, INEC itself. Does he have a prior history that bolster confidence that he might be a different breed? What has Yaga found out so far?
Well, for the best of our knowledge, I think the most that we know of is that he's also participated in elections petitions. However, I do believe that the screening process would enable us assess him better, and that is because the idea of a screening is like a job interview where you're asked questions, and the way you respond to practical issues and scenarios would help people or audience determine or ascertain if you have the capacity to get the work done. And I do believe that it's important that the screening process is made public, that media and civil society are allowed to participate and observe the process, and that there's a process for citizens to submit a memorandum or submit their issues or what they think the INEC chair should be addressed. And I think that would help us assess him better, because at this point, what we're going to be doing is following through this process and pushing the citizens' demand on it. I think it's important that we highlight what is at stake here. The trust deficit and the lack of trust in our electoral process is a major threat to Nigeria's democratic future. And so whomever emerges as the chair must realize that his appointment, or the appointment, the loyalty is to the Nigerian people and loyalty is to the Nigerian constitution and not to an individual. Yes, I think that is also what we need to state as when it comes to independence.
All right, Jake, quickly, in 40 seconds, if you can, what kind of questions do you expect that, the National Assembly will put to the incoming, I should use that, INEC Chairman, that might help in building trust between the people and him during his time?
I'll say first, personal integrity. He has to pass the integrity test. Secondly, where he has worked. How did he carry out the work that he did in the university? Thirdly, what's his, as little as his family background, we need to know everything about him, and so that Nigerians can make up their mind if he's the right person. Like Cynthia said, once the process is transparent, then that's where the trust will begin. But if it's not, he'll be treated just like every other person.
I guess at this point it's safe to say fingers crossed and hope for the best. Thank you very much, Jake and Cynthia, for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Coming up, police nabbed suspects linked to death of Arise News journalist Somtochukwu Maduagwu. We will tell you more when we return. Thank you for staying with us. You're watching tonight on News Central. A reminder of our top stories. Professor Joash Amupitan nominated as new chairman of Independent National Electoral Commission. Elder statesman and former Nigerian High Commissioner to the UK, Christopher Kolade, is dead. Israel and Hamas agreed to first phase of ceasefire plan, which looks to cement release of all hostages and withdrawal of troops from Gaza. "12 suspects linked to the brutal killing of Arise News journalist Somtochukwu Maduagwu and a security guard, Barnabas Danlami, have been apprehended by operatives of the Federal Capital Territory FCT Police Command. The victims were attacked in the early hours of September 29, 2023 at INEC apartment in Katangbe district. The incident shocked Abuja residents and heightened concerns about growing insecurity in the nation's capital. Now, according to a police situation report, the arrests were the outcome of an intensive manhunt ordered by the FCT Commissioner of Police and executed by the Scorpion Squad led by ACP Victor Godfrey. And Nigeria has lost one of its finest minds, a man who wore many hats with grace, integrity, and excellence. Veteran broadcaster, business leader, teacher, and diplomat, Dr Christopher Kolade has died at the age of 92. We have more in this report.
He was more than a broadcaster. Dr. Christopher Kolade was a symbol of integrity, a man who stood tall in Nigeria's media, business, and academic spaces, leaving behind a legacy of values-driven leadership. Known by many as the conscience of the nation, Kolade began his career in broadcasting and rose to become the Director General of the Nigerian Broadcasting Corporation, known now as FRCN. In an era of limited freedom, he stood for the truth, responsibility, and balancing storytelling.
Every Nigerian.
But his journey didn't stop in the newsroom. He later served as the chairman of Cadbury Nigeria, represented Nigeria as High Commissioner to the UK, and became a revered lecturer in ethics and leadership at Lagos Business School. To many, Kolade was also a teacher of not just knowledge, but of character. In boardrooms, classrooms, and public service, his voice always pointed the nation towards accountability and justice.
How many of us here can die for the flag? Now, shall I tell you something? If you have not found it pleasant, agreeable to live under the flag, it is difficult to volunteer to die for the flag.
As Nigeria reflects on the life of Dr. Christopher Kolade, the nation says goodbye to a rare breed, a man whose words shaped minds and whose life shaped values. A broadcaster, a teacher, a diplomat, but above all, a true Nigerian patriot.
God bless you all.
In Lagos, for News Central, Igbalani Omani.
I'm joined by two prominent Nigerians who worked closely with the late Christopher Kolade. With me in the studio is ace broadcaster Bimbo Oloyede. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And joining us virtually is Hamid Okpeloyeru, a diplomat who served as head of Chancery under the late Dr. Christopher Kolade as High Commissioner in the UK. We will have him shortly. But let's start with Bimbo in the studio. I mean, a life of service, that's how my colleague described him. You knew him as a boss. Talk to us about some of the fondest memories and how he was as a leader.
It's hard to hear him described in the past tense, but well, that's life. He was a very fair man, a very brilliant man, very astute. He always encouraged us. I mean, he was the Director General of the then NBC TV when I was first employed. So, I mean, there was a huge gap between both of us. But I do recall that we used to have what we called post-mortem sessions every Thursday at Broadcasting House. And he and some other of our bosses would be there. They would preside over the presentation group, and you know, different people's work would be assessed and criticized if necessary, praised if necessary. He was a very witty man. He had a wonderful sense of humor. And as a leader, he could be very firm, but he never raised his voice. I never heard him raise his voice. But the words that he would choose would, you know, put you in your place. At the same time, when he was ready to encourage you, you would feel as if you were on top of the world. He was a wonderful man.
Yeah, I mean, all I've heard, and I could barely keep my face from smiling because of all the beautiful words that seem to follow, you know, with the tributes that are coming in. Talk to us about some of the most prominent experiences you've had and the things that you've heard most about him that you believe is true.
I think there are different sectors within our polity that would all, they would all claim him as,
yes,
as,
I mean, he was a teacher,
as
a
belonging to them,
a leader,
and they would be right, because he really was. Of course, yes, he was a broadcaster. He was a teacher. He was a lecturer. He was a boardroom guru. He was chairman, former chairman of Cadbury. So, I mean, there are so many aspects to him, so many hats that he wore. And I dare say that he wore them all brilliantly. The cap always fit, always fitted him. And he just excelled in everything, you know, that he did.
I mean,
and he
some of the
was
key
so
words
purposeful.
that came up with his name is integrity. That word came up a lot, and forthrightness.
Yes.
You know,
yes,
what would you say will be some of the lessons current and aspiring leaders should pick from his leadership style?
His word was his bond. If he says yes, then it is yes. And if he says no, then it's no. He also, I remember him telling me a particular story about a time when, I think it was when he was in Cadbury, there had been profits, a reasonable profit that particular year. And I remember him saying to me that he decided that the profits were going to be shared equally. It didn't matter if you were a janitor or a cleaner or a manager, those profits were going to be shared equally. And I remember him saying that the manager will not do his job properly if the janitor or the cleaner is not available to do his or her job properly. And so as far as he was concerned, it was a fair move. I think it was resisted, but eventually, I mean, he wasn't going to be...
Basically, you are the sum of your team.
Yes.
The quality of the work you bring is supplemented by that.
That is
I understand we have Hamid Okpeluyeru joining us now. Thank you very much, sir, for being here with us. This is a man you worked quite closely with. Tell us some of the most cherished experiences in relationship, in leadership that you can share with us from your time with him.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me. It was a pity that we lost Ambassador Dr. Christopher Kolade, CON. The ambassador was a man of many parts, a veteran, broadcaster, a teacher, a mentor, an administrator, manager, industrialist, a diplomat, and indeed a spiritual leader. And his legacy really cut across all the areas, all the aspects of life. And at the Nigerian High Commission, he brought a lot of innovative ideas. And some of them actually were those ideas that he garnered during his stay or his stint in the public sector. I mean, for example, you know, during our leaders meeting, actually we used to call it senior staff coordination meeting. And he changed it to leaders meeting using some of the management tools that are very common in the private sector, or something like Staff of the Year Award. So he's somebody who motivates the staff. He believes in innovation, and he believes in excellence, and also he believes in integrity and transparency. And of course, he introduced most of them there. Many of these tools, like the annual award night, he introduced it because we have so many, the Nigerian High Commission has so many offices. We have offices on Northumberland Avenue, we have on Fleet Street, we have also departments of the defense section. Staff do not know themselves. And so he introduced this with the objective of fostering camaraderie among the staff. At the community level also, he created the Central Association of Nigerians in the United Kingdom and Ireland, which was actually very unprecedented, and in 2005, and this remains up to today. That creates a network of all Nigerians within the UK and Ireland.
I mean, what you both have described this evening is someone who pulls people in and help them grow, and he's widely respected. The question I asked Bimbo earlier was about his leadership style, which a lot of persons say emphasized integrity and forthrightness. So I'll put that same question to you. What lessons can current and aspiring leaders learn from his approach to leadership?
Yeah, actually, we always look at his leadership as being a leader in theory and practice. I mean, he was a prolific business school practitioner, And he introduced this leadership by ensuring that even the staff of the mission, he was giving us induction sessions pro bono, just to ensure that we upscale our tools. And then in the area of service delivery also, he created a lot of staff development and training, welfare issues that actually became very handy when you are trying to bring about client-friendly services within the mission. And that is something that we need to, we are all, most of us, not only myself, most of the senior officers and even the junior officers alike, we consider him as a mentor. Mm-hmm. And he's always there to help.
The words today, I've just been, it's hard for me to be sad because of the beautiful things and the beautiful life that he has led and continue to inspire people. But just before we go, I'm told we have less than a minute. Do we still have his breed in today's Nigeria? Do we still have hope that the kind of leadership he showed can be experienced again?
That's quite a difficult question because there are so many attributes, packed into one person. But I think there is hope. There is hope because some of the attributes that he has, I have identified them in some people. And one or two of them that I think we have not mentioned this evening is his sense of humanity and his sense of humility, because those two were very, very evident in everything that he did.
I wish I had the honor of meeting him. May his soul rest in peace. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And sir, thank you very much for giving us your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Let's go on now to tell you that the Nigerian Senate has moved to address growing international narratives alleging widespread persecution and genocide against Christians in the country. Lawmakers debated a motion on the urgent need to correct what they described as misleading claims capable of inflaming religious tension and misrepresenting Nigeria's security situation before the global community. Our National Assembly correspondent Sage Ibrahim has more.
The lawmakers exchanged pleasantries as they settled down to convene the last plenary of the week. As proceedings began, the leader of the Senate, Opeyemi Bamidele, moved a motion to step down the first order of the day and instead take the next item, a motion sponsored by Borno South lawmaker Ali Ndume. While leading the debate on the motion co-sponsored by over 20 other senators, Ndume raised concerns over the increasing spread of reports suggesting systematic attacks on Christians in Nigeria, saying that such narratives, though sometimes well-intentioned, risk deepening sectarian suspicion and portraying the country negatively abroad.
While Nigeria faces security challenges, these are not defined by religion alone, but by complex mix of terrorism, criminality, and social economic factors.
The renewed debate follows recent comments by U.S. Senator Ted Cruz, who accused the Nigerian government of enabling a massacre against Christians. Cruz claimed via an ex-post that over 50,000 people had been killed, with thousands of schools and churches destroyed by Islamist groups since 2009. However, several lawmakers disagreed with the comments.
I have so many Christians in my own constituency, over 50 churches from my own constituency, and we are living peacefully with them. I am seriously worried a higher-ranking senator will come up with a very uninformed position. I have 50 places where militia or non-state actors attack Muslim.
On this motion, Mr. President, there is need to engage knowledge. Let refer back to executive session at appropriate time to discuss and evaluate terrorist strategy. Then we will be able to define counter-terrorism strategy that we will adopt.
This discussion will be better in a closed session. And I think at the end of the day, we should actually have a small team that should visit our colleagues and also put the other side, because some people must have gone there to give a one-sided story. And at the end, it will now look as if only Christians are being killed by terrorists in Nigeria.
The Senate therefore resolved to move discussions on the matter to an executive session scheduled for Tuesday, October 14th. From the National Assembly, Abuja, for News Central, Sagi Ibrahim.
Outside our shores, Israel and Hamas have agreed to the first phase of a ceasefire plan that will see the release of all hostages and a withdrawal of Israeli troops to an agreed line in Gaza. This marks the most significant step yet towards ending the two-year-long war. U.S. President Donald Trump announced the development in a late Wednesday post. The White House had unveiled the 20-point roadmap for peace in Gaza as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met with Trump in Washington last week. The plan included an immediate end to military operations and the release of all hostages within 72 hours. Let's turn to global policy analyst Alexander von Rugen for some perspective. Thank you for being here. For President Trump, it means, the agreement means the war has ended permanently. Has it?
Well, I think this relationship has evolved over 1,000 years. And with the actions in the Middle East, it's impossible to erase the emotion, the trauma, the memories, whether it's for the Israelis in the October 7th massacre or the ongoing invasion into Gaza and the displacement. If something isn't done coordinated and balanced, such as the efforts of the 20-point Trump plan, the actions have created the next 2 or 3 generations of future terrorists. 60,000 people have died on the Palestinian side, 1,300 on the Israeli side, other than casualties of war. I think to say that the war is over, I think maybe in concept, yes, for the time being, if the provisions set out in the 20-point plan are adhered to. I would hope and pray, yes, the war has ended, but it's going to take a lot of hard work and investment, a reinvestment into Gaza, and to give Palestinians hope that they have a future, that they can raise their families in peace.
How does the ceasefire agreement, from what we know, address the issue of Gaza's reconstruction and economic development?
Well, there's going to be a new economic zone in Gaza, which will promote the building of new factories and promote trade with special tariff discounted rates, I'm sure by America, to incentivize companies to locate there and to hire Palestinians. This has always been an issue with Palestinians because they've had restricted movement, they've had restricted abilities to function and raise and make money. If you want to radicalize young people, take away all hope for a future, and they're the best choice for a radicalization because they have nothing to lose. They have nothing.
Alexander, as always, thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
Tonight returns with business, sports, and entertainment news.
Talking business now, Nigeria's House of Representatives has launched an investigation into the over $18 billion reportedly spent on rehabilitating the Port Harcourt, Warri, and Kaduna refineries. These happened over the past 2 decades with no visible results. The motion, moved by Honorable Sesi Wingan, raised concerns about the persistent failures despite repeated turnaround maintenance projects and government assurances. Wingan referenced remarks by industrialist Aliko Dangote and former President Olusegun Obasanjo, who both questioned the viability of state-owned refineries considering the technology behind them is outdated. The House intends to form an ad hoc committee to scrutinize funds allocated between 2010 and 2024, assess project implementation, and identify possible corruption or fiscal mismanagement. The committee will have 4 weeks to submit its findings for legislative action. In the meantime, Nigeria's Naira has recorded its strongest performance in months in September 2025, trading below 1,500 Naira to a dollar for over 2 weeks. This is attributed to CBN's policy tightening, fintech transparency, and renewed investor confidence. APCON President Aminu Gwadabe credited the non-resident BVN framework, higher oil output, and progress towards Nigeria's exit from the Financial Action Task Force grey list for strengthening the currency. Experts added that CBN's dollar injections, rising diaspora remittances, and fiscal monetary coordination boosted liquidity and market confidence. The Naira closed the month at 1,478 Naira to a dollar, while external reserves hit a 6-year high of $42.3 billion. Analysts say sustained reforms in fintech-enabled monitoring could extend the recovery through late 2025. And looking at the stock markets, the NGX closed today with modest gains as all-share index rose by 0.33% to 146,203.40 points, with a market cap at 92.79 trillion naira. And sectoral performance helps us understand that the banking sector added 0.26%, fueled by strength in GTCO and other tier 1 lenders. Insurance edge of 0.64%, reflecting renewed interest in undervalued financials. Oil and gas was bland with limited momentum in major energy players. Consumer goods advanced 0.43%, driven by demand in food and beverage counters, while industrial goods also climbed by 0.67%, buoyed by strength in cement and allied material stocks. Well, the session showed some sort of optimism, selectively though, with investors cautiously supporting banking, insurance, and the industrial sector. And that's it on business. I am Lekon Obanjo. Do stay tuned for sports.
Super Eagles head coach Eric Shell has emphasized the need for total concentration as Nigeria prepare to face Lesotho in their upcoming World Cup qualifier. Shell said maintaining focus throughout the match will be crucial for securing all 3 points against the Crocodiles in the South African city of Polokwane on Friday. Shell's comments come amidst rumors circulating on social media that the NFF was preparing to replace the Malian with technical director Augustin Eguavon and Ladan Bosso if the Super Eagles fail to qualify for the World Cup and in preparation of the African Cup of Nations in December. Former WBO World Heavyweight Champion Joseph Parker has offered to step in and fight Moses Ituama on December 13th, should all go well against Fabio Wardley later this month. Parker is scheduled to face the undefeated Wardley in an intriguing clash at London's O2 Arena on October 25th. After an incredible 4-fight streak in 2024, Parker's activity has slowed down, and this fight against Wardley will be only his second outing in 18 months after stopping Martin Bakole at the beginning of the year. Now, the 33-year-old is hoping to beat Wardley and then fight once more in 2025, or rather before 2025 is over, and he insists he would be ready for December 13th. Rising star Ituama is set to headline Queensbury's December 13th show at Manchester's Co-op Live Arena, but his promoter, Frank Warren, has struggled to secure a credible opponent for the 20-year-old. Manchester United have confirmed that there are no advanced negotiations over a sale to a new investor. Alhaji Sheikh, who has 7.2 million followers on X, wrote on the social media platform that United were in advanced talks to sell the club to an unnamed investor. On Sunday, Alhaji Sheikh unveiled the latest Riyadh season schedule, which did not include any football, but it is thought a mid-season friendly between a Saudi Pro League or a similarly placed European giant such as AC Milan could be arranged to try and raise some funds in the absence of European competition this season. And that's all on Sports News tonight. Entertainment is next with Kate.
Kate is here with all the latest gists.
Hi, I'm here. I'm very well. Thank you, Felicity. How are you doing today?
I'm good.
All right. In the world of entertainment, Afrobeat continues to soar globally as Fuse and Benson's smash hit Finesse hits a major milestone, surpassing 200 million streams on Spotify, a first for both artists. Now, the 2022 viral anthem, famous for its catchy line, "If I Broke, Now My Business," has officially become one of the most streamed Afrobeat songs ever on the platform. The track, which catapulted both acts into international recognition, showcased the perfect fusion of Fuse's production genius and Benson's smooth vocals. Now, beyond the numbers, this record highlights the genre's growing dominance across continents and, of course, digital platforms. Finesse did not just dominate charts when it dropped. It became a cultural moment, inspiring memes, dance trends, and countless covers. Now, with this milestone, Fuse and Benson cement their names among Afrobeat heavyweights, proving that Nigerian music is not slowing down anytime soon. Now, away from home, country music legend Dolly Parton has addressed recent rumors about her health, assuring fans that she's very much alive and doing well. The 79-year-old star took to social media with a 2-minute video message to shut down the health rumor. Speculation began after Parton postponed her Las Vegas residency, sparking concern among fans. But she explained that she's been taking time off to focus on her health after years of caring for her late husband, Carl Dean. Now, Dolly thanked fans for their prayers and support, confirming that her Vegas show have been rescheduled for fall next year, 2026. With her signature humor and charm, she made it clear that she's far from done performing, reminding everyone that the Queen of Country is not going anywhere just yet. And that's the entertainment news for tonight. Thank you for watching.
And that's our news tonight. As always, we would love your feedback and your eyewitness report. Please share them using the number showing now on your screen. You can choose to follow us on social media platforms. We are at News Central TV. You can watch us on News Central Live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274. We're on Avo TV and streaming live on YouTube.